You're listening to the Spark Radio Network. Radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, ccrsnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree-hugging, hippie, free-to-be, you-and-me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Good afternoon, Philadelphia. No, I'm not Adrian Cronauer. I'm just a little bored and a little hyper. All right, so this is America Off the Rails. You are listening to us on Wnjc 1360 AM, the powerhouse out of Philadelphia. It's just a couple minutes past the hour right here in Philadelphia. Of course, I'm not actually there with you. I wish I was. I do this show remotely. I live in Oklahoma. I used to live on the East Coast, if it makes you feel any better. But so come on, I got to ask a question. Come on, Philly. What happened? What happened Tuesday? Come on, you've had a couple of days to recover. Come on, let's sit down, let's talk, let's compare notes. Because what the heck did you do? Come on, how many of you out there right now are listening to the show? And please tell me that at least none of you that listen to me on a regular basis voted for you-know-who. I'm not even going to say his name right now because I can't bring myself to do it. But come on, guys. After all the work that we do here on the Spark Radio Network and the Conservative Commandos Radio Network and on WNJC 1360 and everywhere around here, you guys still let him take Pennsylvania. Okay, I'm just giving you grief. I understand most of you that listen to this network and this channel, and whether you're listening on the internet, on the terrestrial, on the phone loop, whatever, however it is you listen to these shows, I at least hope that none of you voted for he who, at least for the moment, shall not be named. I can't go the whole show without saying his name. I thought about trying that once, just to be honest. I don't think it's going to work. So, but yeah, anyway, we do have lots of stuff to talk about today. We have some news from the Bernie camp. We have some news from the Trump camp. And, of course, some news from the Cruz camp, which was announced Wednesday evening, so last night. So it's a little bit old news, but it's still a big deal. I mean, come on. He picked a running mate. Now, if you're listening to everyone, all the talking heads and everybody else are like, oh my God, it's a move of desperation. He's putting the cart before the horse. Look, I have to be honest with you. One of the things that I honestly wish we did do was once we got it down to about 2 or 3, I think they should pick their running mates then. Because then we get to see who they're going to pick. Because I got to tell you, knowing what I know about Palin now, if the other folks that were in the mix there in the beginning had a chance to pick a different running mate, there may have been a whole different scenario there by the time it was all over. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. When Palin first came on the scene, I was a cheerleader, dude. I loved the idea of this tough, brash Alaskan lady who pulled no punches with the media and told everybody what they needed to hear. But the thing about it is, it was an act. It was an act. Look at everything that's happened since then. And look, I don't fault Sarah Palin for finding a way to take what was a raw deal for her and turn it into things like the Fox show that she did for a while, the media speaking events, all of the above. Look, if you can take lemons and turn them into lemonades, that's part of what makes you a good conservative. But to keep pushing the same tired narratives over and over again, when at this point everything's a lot different than it was in 2008, and it's time that we focus on that. It's the same thing that we've been screaming to all the Trump supporters now for the last month, who ever since that, big old, as far as they're concerned, fiasco in Colorado, they sound like supporters of Al Gore in 2000, who were like, oh my God, I can't believe Bush got the presidency because Al Gore actually won the popular vote. One person, one vote. One person, one vote. Way to sound like an Al Gore supporter 16 years later, because you guys were the same ones that were laughing at the Al Gore supporters in 2000, and we're like, dude, it's not actually a democracy. Go back and take a civics class, man. And now all you guys are like, one person, one vote, democracy rules, this isn't fair. I'm confused. It was fair 16 years ago. 16 years ago, when the other guys were like all having cows and kittens and freaking out and everything else, y'all sounded a lot like this. And now that the shoe's on the other foot, you sound more like this.
You suck! You suck!
I don't understand it. Okay, I really should have found a better sound effect for that one, but I'm kind of rolling with it here as I'm going. I need to find like a really, really terrible like boo sound effect and stuff. But anyway, so you get the point. The whole it happens. It's all over social media. It's everywhere. And this is the thing, folks. For those of us that are not on board the Trump train, remember America Off the Rails? Kind of thought it was ironic that they decided to name their movement the Trump train. Oh, see, this is why I'm glad I occasionally have a filter. Wife's a porn star. That's all I'm going to say. You can put the rest of the dots together. I'm not going to say it on the air. Trader will eat my lunch if I say it on the air. But you know exactly where I was about to go. But, I mean, come on. For all of these people that are these big, really loud, rambunctious people on Twitter, you get them in a room, they sound just like the rest of us. The only difference is they're looking at this from some weird perspective, usually with their head planted firmly in their own posterior, and they really need to come up for air. But that's okay. So as an example, there's another network with my home network and station that we work fairly closely with, Altcon Radio. For those of you who were tuning in when we were at CPAC, one of the first broadcasts I did actually had the station owner with me on air, Stephen Hamilton. And he actually did a show last Friday. I actually gave up my time slot on my home network and home station to simulcast his show because he actually had a really vocal Trump supporter who was willing to come on a show and actually try to explain to folks why it is that he's a Trump supporter. And you probably know him if you're big on Twitter, but I'm not going to mention his name. You can go find the information on either our website or Altcon's website. It's all still there. But needless to say, short of the crazy people that were in the chat room acting like complete total idiots because they were in their element, because they were typing behind a keyboard, this guy, for at least the first few minutes, actually seemed somewhat intelligent and somewhat coherent. But when his argument started falling apart, all he kept saying over and over again is, I don't understand why, since Trump has all the momentum and he has most of the votes, why you guys can't just fall in line. And it's what he kept repeating over and over again. And it's become a clarion call for them, because as far as they're concerned, especially after the results of Tuesday, I mean, even Trump put out a tweet shortly after the results of Tuesday that as far as he was concerned, he was now the de facto nominee and people needed to get out of his way. Now, that is not an exact quote, but it's pretty close to what was said. And that's one of the reasons why, if you listen to the other folks that are on the other side of the argument, this whole thing with Cruz and Fiorina, to them, seems like a move of desperation. I personally think it's rather intelligent because, as I said a moment ago, as far as I'm concerned, when we get down to 2 or 3, the running mates should be chosen so that you know who the whole package is going to be. I mean, how many people, Democratic side included, if they had known Obama was going to pick Crazy Uncle Joe, would have maybe changed their mind? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not sure, but, who knows? So, speaking of major announcements, let's go ahead and get a couple of them out of the way. This one I thought was pretty funny. So this is from Red State. A couple of the articles that we're going to be talking about today are going to be on there. Bye-bye Bernie. Sanders laying off hundreds of campaign workers. And this is Dateline April 27th. So, apparently, the Sanders campaign is in some major financial trouble, at least from that headline. Let's see if the article can shed any light on that. Vermont Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders lost 4 or 5 races on Tuesday and trails Hillary Clinton by a now insurmountable number of delegates and superdelegates. He has vowed to continue the fight all the way to the convention, not emphasizing that he will win, but rather to influence the party and platform. But that big talk is washed out by news today that the campaign is laying off their staff across the country. In a quote from Bernie Sanders, he was quoted as to say, "What? I'm a socialist. Was I supposed to keep playing for these guys? I mean, come on now." No, not really. And I can't do a Bernie impression, but I had to try. But yeah, so anyway, we're 80% of the way through the caucuses and primaries, and we make adjustments as we go along. This is a process we've done before of right-sizing the campaign as we move through the calendar, Sanders Campaign Communications Director Michael Briggs told Politico. However, as has been visible in the Republican race, laying off staff is often one of the earliest signs of a campaign winding down as it runs out of money. Even though Sanders has outraised Clinton, the Sanders camp has also outspent Clinton's. Briggs confirmed to Fox News that hundreds of field staff from the 5 states in Tuesday's primaries were told they are being let go. So, I'm honestly surprised he didn't try to get them to hang on and work for free. I mean, come on, he's a socialist after all. I'm just saying. So, probably one of the first signs that the Sanders camp is in true trouble. I mean, he's been in trouble now for a while, folks. There's been all kinds of little scandals breaking, the little bent the rules here, had folks dressed improperly when they were trying to do polling and all the other things that have gone on while this campaign's been running. But the simple fact of the matter is, no matter how much there's a certain segment of the population that was literally feeling the burn, we're not ready for a socialist, democratic or otherwise. We're getting closer. And the fact that he did as well as he did means that in a couple of probably more cycles, we're going to be a lot closer than we are today. And that terrifies me. To be honest. I think we've spent so much time focusing on Trump that we're starting to forget about the other side of the argument here. I don't try to do that, but up until recently, Trump has been my most clear and present danger. I know I get emails from you and comments from folks all the time that are like, dude, every time I turn you on, you're railing against Trump. Can you please, just every once in a while, at least talk about something else? And I'm sorry, as much as I would love to be able to do that, he is the biggest problem that our party faces right now. Let the Democrats worry about the Democrats. It's time for us conservatives. I can't say Republican anymore because remember, I officially left the party after 20 some odd years a couple of weeks ago, as soon as the Libertarian Party was recognized in my state. Now, if we don't get it going well enough, I may have to change registration again in the future. But for the moment, I am not a Republican. I am, however, still a conservative. So for those of you who've been looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm now a libertarian, that doesn't mean I've bought all of their namby-pamby tree hugger side either. It just means that I am trying to let the Republican Party know exactly how unhappy I am with the things that they have done. Because in my opinion, Reince Priebus should have told Donald Trump to go fly a kite. Be like, look, you don't represent our party. You don't represent our values. If you think you've got a shot at this, please feel free to run third party. Because look, this is the bottom line at this point. And this is to anyone who's willing to listen. I don't care if you are a Trump supporter, Cruz supporter, Kasich supporter, or you support the fluffy bunny with pink polka dots for president 2016. I don't care. What I want you to understand is if you are paying attention to what is going on right now with the Trump campaign, and I have something that we'll be going over in a moment about that. If you're paying attention to that, then you have to understand how much trouble this campaign will actually be in if we get to the point where he is actually the one that becomes the nominee and the one for the general election. If we get to that point, the media is going to eat him alive. Case in point, from Red State again. This is actually the front page story from Wednesday the 27th. Ha ha ha. Trump crony Paul Manafort wanted for fraud questioning by the Cayman Islands. Donald Trump strategist and alleged Russian mob fixer. Folks, I'm going to hire the best people. It's going to be huge. We're going to make America great again because I know how to get real people behind the scenes who know how to get things done. Apparently, Russian mobsters know how to get things done. Russian mob fixer Paul J. Manafort, on the left of a picture that I'm looking at right now, chats with a rented Ben Carson as they head for a Trump presidential reception. And this is basically a picture that is part of the article. And the article itself reads, a court in the Cayman Islands has sought to question Paul Manafort, Donald Trump's chief campaign aide, to determine what happened to $26.2 million invested by a billionaire Russian oligarch in a Cayman Islands partnership with the political consultant, according to documents obtained by Yahoo News. Court-appointed liquidators from Cayman Islands last summer initiated a legal action in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, seeking to question Manafort and two business partners under oath about a business deal between them and the firms controlled by Oleg Deripaska, a Russian aluminum magnate who for years was barred from entering the United States over allegations of ties to organized crime. How much crap did I get when I started trying to say there are things that you can find behind the scenes if you do your own research that ties Donald Trump to the mob? How much crap did I get? How many of you sent me emails? Quite a few. How many of you attacked me on Twitter? Quite a few. And by you, I'm using not you guys that all of you that listen, but the point is, I know for every one of you or every 5 of you that listen to me that actually understand what I'm trying to say, there's at least one of you that do nothing but listen to ridicule. And that's fine. Because the same thing happens when I post articles on American Action News. The trolls come out of the woodwork. What surprises the trolls is I'll stand there in the comment section with them and go toe-to-toe. Look, I'm not afraid to talk to you. Why do you think I do this? Because I just want to be a guy sitting behind a microphone talking to myself all day long? No, I want the feedback from you. It's one of the reasons why on pretty much every single show I give you my email address. I give you the way that you can get a hold of me on Twitter. If you don't like something I'm saying, then feel free to reach out to me. If you like what I'm doing, feel free to reach out to me. But the simple point that I'm trying to get across to you guys is if you look for yourself, you can find all of the things that I've been saying now for months. This guy is not good. He's not a good person. And if you don't believe me, one of the stories that we talked about on the I Almost Went to Oz episode of America Off the Rails on Tuesday night was the fact that there is now a lawsuit pending with Trump University, but that has been pushed. I wonder why it's been pushed. Could this be the media's October surprise and holding? Guess we'll have to wait and see. But these are the type of things that are just now starting to come out about this campaign. And if you don't think the media has worse than that, just waiting, then you're not paying attention. And it really is that simple. If you do not think they have more than that, then you're not paying attention. I mean, I really just don't know what to say other than please stop just listening to whoever your favorite person on the radio or the news is, or on Fox News or on CNN or even WNJC. Don't just listen to us. You have to do some of the work yourself. We will point you in the right direction and tell you what it is that we believe so that you can find ways to do the research on your own, but that doesn't mean you need to stop with us. We, as the American people, should be the most informed people that are voting in these type of elections, and we are not. There is a reason that there have been so many changes, because there were lots of different ways to control the voting back in the day, and a lot of people use that as discrimination and everything else. But the simple fact of the matter is, when it was done the way it was done, because let's not forget, when everything was originally founded, in order to be able to cast a vote, you had to be a landowner. And it's because you actually had skin in the game. You had a vested interest as to what was going to happen in the country. We have way too many people now that don't have a vested interest in what happens anymore. Their only vested interest is, what am I going to get for free from you today? And this is what has become the driving force in our political system for the last 10, 15, almost 20 years. What am I going to get for free from you today? The only difference is, when the Democrats are in power, or at least it used to be a difference, honestly it's really not anymore, but they used to try to put at least 5% of their little handouts to make sure that they went right back to the American people in one form or another. They really don't anymore. And when the Republicans are in power, for the most part, all of the favors and the handouts and everything else typically go to businesses. Look, this is not good in either respect. It's really not. And this is one of the things that those of us that are true conservatives have been saying about this election cycle all along. Look, I was the first one when Romney stood up and wanted to run for president that said, I honestly thought someone who understood how the business sector worked and had been able to positively impact businesses was going to be one of our best choices as a presidential candidate, because when you really get away from all of the hype and all of the BS and all of the drama, the easiest way, because of the fact that it is not a democracy, to look at the American political system is the president is the CEO, Congress are the board of directors, and we the people are the shareholders. So when you break it down to that simple of analogy, if you have someone who understands business acumen, they're probably going to be a pretty good choice for president. The problem is we went from one extreme to the other, because we had Mitt Romney, who was probably the nicest billionaire ever, who would go around behind people's backs and do nice things for them and never even tell them that he was the one that was doing them. Or then we have Donald Trump on the other hand, who is still a billionaire, still a quote-unquote successful businessman, unless you actually start digging into the things that he's done with his money, who attacks everyone who disagrees with him, who lambasts everyone who disagrees with him, who calls them out on social media and says, be careful if you stand against me because I know where your secrets are. When I become president, I'm going to make it easier for people to be able to sue the media because they shouldn't be able to tell some of the stories that they tell. Look, folks, it's already starting to come out in certain circles that folks are wondering if the reason why Trump is running away so much with this election cycle is because of the fear of the people that are afraid he's going to come after them. And I honestly don't know. What I do know is there have been some pretty big announcements behind the scenes in those campaigns, and we'll actually talk about that when we come back here in just a moment. But as it stands right now, it is about time for us to go ahead and take a break. I've got to get ready to get a couple things queued up. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We'll be right back right here on Wnjc 1360 AM, the powerhouse out of Philadelphia. Don't go away. We still got about half the show left. Got to pay some bills. See you in a few. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
The wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Folks, you are listening to America Off the Rails, now a proud member of the Conservative Commando Radio Network, right here on WNJC 1360 AM, the powerhouse of Philadelphia. Now, I have a question for you. Do you ever find yourself maybe not near a radio? Maybe you're traveling and you don't have access to the internet? Did you know that the Conservatives Commando Radio Network can now be heard on a telephone network by calling 832-999-1199 anytime, day or night? That's right. You can hear every show as is broadcast live, even if you're not near the radio or an internet, because, everybody nowadays has a phone in their hand. But here's the good news, though. As soon as we go off the air at night on the Conservative Commando Radio Network right here on WNJC, you can listen to every show that aired for that day as many times as you want just by dialing that number. It'll be a live feature every day at 12 p.m. daily, and it'll be exclusively for the shows that run on that network. But until the next day when it goes live again, they're going to run them over and over and over again. So now you have on-demand access to the Conservative Commando Radio Network right on your phone. How cool is that? Just remember, the Conservative Commando Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
For our own cause, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. This is in our pockets, cause there's no longer free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see.
Alright, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We are into the last half of the show already, Philadelphia. My, oh my, where did the time go? Alright, so as promised, we do have some breaking audio from both the Cruz camp and the Trump camp, so let's start off with the audio that I actually want to hear. This is the announcement that was made on Wednesday of the Ted Cruz announcement of naming Carly Fiorina as his vice presidential pick. Depending on who you listen to, it was either a stroke of genius or an act of desperation. I personally seem to think it was the former. A lot of folks think it was the latter. I'll let you listen, then you be the judge.
When you run for president, one of the most solemn choices you make is the choice of selecting a vice presidential candidate. This is a choice that you are telling the American people, this is an individual who I trust. And even more importantly, this is an individual you can trust to lead this country no matter what might happen. Yeah. After a great deal of time and thought, after a great deal of consideration and prayer, I have come to the conclusion that if I am nominated to be President of the United States, that I will run on a ticket with my vice presidential nominee, Carly Fiorina. She started working as a secretary at a small firm, and she climbed the corporate ladder to become the CEO of the largest technology company in the world. And with that, I am pleased to introduce to you an extraordinary leader, my friend, and the next Vice President of the United States, Carly Fiorina.
Today, I'm very proud and very humbled and honored to announce that I have accepted Senator Ted Cruz's offer to be his vice president for the Republican nomination. My fellow Americans, people of Indiana, it is time. We must take our country back. This is the fight of our time. And I believe Ted Cruz is the man to lead that fight. And I am prepared to stand by his side and give this everything I have to restore the soul of our party, to defeat Donald Trump, to defeat Hillary Clinton, and to take our country back.
All right, so there you have an abridged version of the announcement. Of course, there was all kinds of talk from Fox News, a.k.a. Trump Central, about some sort of weird singing that happened at the event. They equated it to something to do with Children of the Corn or something, but that doesn't really surprise me, since Fox for quite some time now has been firmly in the Trump camp, which, remember, for all of you folks that are still supporting Trump, let that sink in for a second, because when Fox News first started trying to dip their toes in the political waters of this election cycle, the first person they wanted was Bush. When they realized they weren't going to be able to get Bush, because a lot of us were sitting back reveling in the fact that Donald Trump was decimating Bush, because none of us wanted this Bush-Clinton thing to happen again. And I think that's honestly what happened to a lot of us. A lot of us were so enthralled in the fact that Donald Trump was basically just up there demolishing Jeb Bush, who at one point even started putting out his stickers and everything. They didn't even say Bush. They just said Jeb 2016, because he was starting to try to distance himself from his own family name. And look, I know people that know the Bushes. So, I mean, I'm not trying to talk badly about any of them, but I'm saying there were so many of us that didn't want to see the political dynasty thing continue. It's one of the reasons why we've been so diametrically opposed to Hillary, not to mention all the other things that we've railed on her about over the years, like Benghazi and all the other things that she's lied about. The fact that Benghazi wasn't the first time that she's basically gotten away with murder, if you listen to a lot of the things that have gone on in the press in the past. So, I mean, she has a lot of skeletons of her own. But we just didn't want to see the whole political dynasty thing playing itself out again, because that's not what this country was founded on. We weren't founded to have rulers. And that's a lot of us that started seeing this Clinton Bush thing playing out again. We're looking at that going, that's not what this country was founded on. But the problem is, we got so enthralled by the guy that we couldn't really take seriously, because we figured he would, I mean, come on. He was like the enforcer on the hockey team. You know, that dude comes out on the ice, he throws a couple of blocks, puts somebody in the boards, and goes into the penalty box, and that's it. He's done. That was his job. That's what a lot of us from the Republican Party at first thought that Trump was. He was the guy that was going to go out, take the shots, get the things into the public forum that needed to be there, and then he was done. He was out. He was going to kamikaze to make sure Bush didn't make it, and get topics that the American people wanted on the front of everybody's minds there. And that's what we thought he was going to do, because nobody takes him seriously when he starts talking about running for president, because he's been trying to do it since the 80s. And now here we sit, 2016, and depending on how Indiana goes, he may be the nominee. Why do I mention Indiana? Because you heard them mention it in the speech right there. I know this show right now airs in Philly. We're working on getting it on in Dallas. We've got feelers in for Oklahoma City. I've got folks working on Tulsa. So nowhere in Indiana yet. But no matter where you hear my voice, if you have friends or family that are in Indiana and they're even remotely considering voting for Trump, have them go back through the archives of this show and all of the other shows that outline all of the different things that he said. They don't have to listen to anything that I'm saying or anything that any of the other talk shows that are actually anti-Trump are saying. Have them go back through and find his own clips. They can find them on YouTube. They can find them they're everywhere. All you have to do is listen to find out who he truly is, and he's not who he's telling you he is right now. His own people have been saying that now for weeks. that he is not who he is pretending to be right now, and that as he gets closer and closer to the general and the White House, his positions and his entire stance on things will change, grow, and evolve. He has told you that much in his own words time and time again when he keeps mentioning that as we get closer to the time where he knows he's going to become the president, he's going to have to move towards the establishment. So all of you folks that are so gung-ho on Trump because he's anti-establishment, he's been telling you now for months that he will not be able to stay that way. And yet you're still buying everything that he's saying. And I'm sorry, sometimes I get really worked up and I go on this subject a lot longer than I intended to, but that was just something that has to be said because it's been said over and over and over again, and too many of you just aren't even listening because you don't care, because you hear Trump and that's it. Trump's going to save America. Trump's going to make America great again. That's the same thing that folks were saying about Obama in 2008 and 2012. Look where it got us. I mean, seriously, look where it got us. Look at where we are. All right, speaking of the Trump camp, pretty decent segue. We had some folks on the ground. We were actually able to get some audio from a speech that he made shortly. I think it was either before or after the Fiorina announcement, but let's go ahead and get that queued up. We've only got about a minute and a half of it here. Not gonna make you sit through the whole thing, but I thought we needed to hear it. So breaking audio from the Spark Radio Network news team right here, Mr. Donald Trump.
You know what really grinds my gears? Nobody's come up with a new priest and a rabbi joke in like 30 years, you know? I mean, okay, a priest and a rabbi go into the supermarket, and the priest wants to buy a ham, and the rabbi says, I can't eat it. It's forbidden. Couldn't eat it. Not allowed. Pigs are like superheroes to them. Is it perfect? No. But I don't see you coming up with anything. And that, people, is what grinds my gears. Tom? You know what really grinds my gears? This Lindsay Lohan. Eh? Lindsay Lohan with all those little outfits, jumping around there on stage, half naked with your little outfits. You know? You're up there jumping around, and I'm just sitting here with my beer. So, you know, what am I supposed to do? What do you want? You know, are we going to go out? Is that what you're trying to... Why are you leaping around there, throwing those things all up over there in my face? Huh? What do you want, Lindsay? Tell me what you want! Well, I tell you... You know what really grinds my gears? Nobody's come up with a new priest and a rabbi joke in like...
Wrong button. All right, so anyway, no, folks, that was not really Donald Trump. It was Peter Griffin from The Family Guy, who is also just about as qualified as Donald Trump to be president. Just saying. So anyway, I couldn't find the audio, but I've heard a few bits and pieces of folks talking about it today, Wednesday, and apparently he was as incoherent as ever, so I thought playing Peter Griffin would at least make sense, because he's one of the most incoherent cartoon characters that I've ever met, next to the giggity guy on the same show, who suddenly his name escapes me. But anyway, so... there we have it. We have, again, it's up to you, depending on which camp you're in. You may see it as a stroke of genius. You may see it as an act of desperation. Again, to me, it makes sense. And I hope, no matter what happens with this, that this is a trend that starts, that while started here, continues. Because I really do think that when we get to the point, I mean, dude, honestly, we can't do it when there's 16 of them. We can't. It wouldn't make any sense. Especially since she was actually one of them at one point, so that obviously wouldn't work. But when we get it to the point where we've narrowed it down to the point where there's really only a couple of options left, especially when basically at this point the only option is probably going to wind up being a contested convention. If we get to the point where we know that's going to happen, I think everyone should have to name their VP picks that is still in the race, so that everybody can get a clear shot at the ticket. Speaking of VP picks, there is a rumor that Donald Trump might actually be considering the governor from my home state, Miss Mary Fallin. Having met the governor on multiple occasions and actually having contacts with her press secretary and a few other things, I have to say, at first I was really a fan of a lot of the things that she was doing, but much like anyone who's been somewhere for too long, I think she's lost sight of why she started working for the governorship, and there's been way too many things that have happened under her watch that we didn't expect. So even as a conservative, I got to say, if Donald Trump wants to go ahead and name her today and start taking her out on the campaign trail, I don't necessarily think that my state would be hurt by that. And this is, I mean, come on. If you've been following me for a while on Twitter, that was one of the pictures I had up for the longest time, was me standing right there with the governor cheesing it up because, you know, we've actually met a few times and she's a nice lady in person. I don't have any issues with her personally. Politically, I think she's lost sight of what she went to the Capitol to do, and I think it's time for somebody else to step in. But that's a story for another day. So we'll actually, I do still have the contacts there. I think I may actually reach out to them. It's been a while since I've tried. She was actually going to come on the show once before, and then her PR folks started listening, and they happened to pick one of the days that I was on a pretty good rant about her, and I was contacted and told that she had declined my invitation. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll try again. Who knows? But anyway, so at this point, we are starting to wind down the show, but there's one other thing we have got to get to. I didn't get a chance to do this on Tuesday night on the home network because of the fact that I was fighting off tornadoes and had no power and had an emergency producer and a brand new co-host, and I was phoning everything in because nothing else was working. But hey, it turned out to be a pretty good show, technical issues and all. But since we didn't do it Tuesday night, I promised Mr. Eric Williams that we would do this on Thursdays, and since this is one of the shows that runs on Thursdays, we're going to go ahead and do it now. Yeah, that's right, folks. This is what I'm talking about.
You've got mail.
That's right, folks. If you're hearing that sound, you know what time it is. A day in the life of Hillary Server, coming right at you as soon as the intro finishes playing.
She's a very slinky girl, the kind you don't want for Commander-in-Chief. She will never let her guard down, says it's her turn to be leader. Oh girl, she likes her emails to be secret. She says it's none of your damn business. When she makes her move to conceal it, Miss Half Time, she's never done no wrong. Oh no, that girl is pretty.
That's right, folks. Day in the life of Hillary Server. And here we go. Without further ado, the latest email from the server. Hey, Rick, how's it going, brother? I've noticed haven't heard much from you lately. Just wanted to let you know I am still sending you information. Yeah, I know we have that big dust-up about me saying that I was going to send all my stuff over to WikiLeaks and everything. But, you know, I just really wanted to say I'm kind of sorry about that. I was really hard on you. I mean, you had a lot going on then. But, you know, what I'm sending all you guys is important. So I wanted to get out as quickly as possible. You've been doing a much better job with that. So I just wanted to say keep it up, man. But here's a few more because you know, what we're doing here is important. But, man, I got to go. So here. They're coming, man. I got to go. But anyway, here's a few of them. I've got some attached for you. I'll send you some next week as soon as I can. Take it easy, man. Keep up the good work. All right, from HDRClintonmail.com to Terry McAuliffe, subject, executive order. Terry, thank you so much for the open display of voter fraud on my behalf with the executive order you signed this weekend. Allowing ex-criminals to vote was pure genius. And you know, every vote we can get, no matter how we get it, is needed. Let me run something by you. Since you can allow convicts to vote with a stroke of a pen, could you sign another executive order banning those disrespectful millennials from voting in November? And remember, old friend, cheating for the Clintons greatly extends your life expectancy. Thanks in advance for your help, Hillary. From HDRClintonmail.com to Terry McAuliffe. Subject, ironic thought. Terry, sorry for the second email, but I just thought of something kind of funny. Wouldn't it be ironic if your executive order allowing ex-convicts to vote in Virginia meant that former felons could actually have the chance to vote for a future felon? Of course, now that I say that out loud, it's not that funny after all. But it is ironic, don't you think? Hillary. From HDRClintonmail.com to Uma Abedin. Subject, positive gangs. Miss Wiener, I don't understand why everybody is making fun of my remarks last week. You know, the one about positive gangs? They would give troubled youth who don't have much of a family the chance to feel like they were part of one. but in a positive way. I think I know a little about what I'm talking about. I did my share of gangbanging in college at Wellesley. Instead of the Bloods and the Crips, East Coast and West Coast, we could have the Cackles or the Superdelegates. Those both sound hip to me. Your thoughts? Love, Hillary. P.S. You were amazing last night. From HDR, to Jake Sullivan. Subject, coughing fits. Jake, can you make sure that when you answer questions about my recurring coughing fits, please explain to the media that all I do is talk? That's all. I don't do anything. I don't make anything. I don't contribute anything. I don't fix anything. I am a professional talker who hides behind the title of politician, so they need to cut me some slack. If I get a tickle in my throat from time to time and get me some damn cough drops, that'll work, or you're fired. That's simple. Take care. Hillary.
She's a very sleazy girl, the kind you don't want for Commander-in-Chief. She will never let her guard down. Let's get her off the streets. Blow, Billy!
All right, folks, that was a Day in the Life Hillary server brought to you by Eric Williams of barbedwiresatire.com. Mr. Eric Williams is featured on the America Off the Rail show, as well as JD and Stacy on their Sunday edition, so make sure you go and check out his website as often as possible, and make sure you tune in and check out their weekday or weekend update every Saturday at 11 Eastern. All right, so we actually are about out of time, I think, if memory, yeah. We're down to the last few minutes, so I just want to take just a second while we're winding everything down to again thank all of you that take the time to tune in and listen, whether you're listening here on Wnjc, through iHeartRadio, or the other ways that the show can be carried. Again, if you want to communicate with me, the easiest, quickest way to do it is through Twitter. You can reach out to me at AOTR_host. You can also shoot me an email. There's a couple that you can use. You can use Ricky at the Spark Radio Network, which is the one that I typically give out here. There's a shorter one. I don't really like to give it out unless I'm actually on the home station, but that's rick@k98talk.org. So either one works. I'll still get the mail. Feel free to communicate with me that way. You can always go to my America Off the Rails Facebook page. You can give it a like. You can go to my professional Facebook page, which is Rowdy Ricky Robinson. Pretty easy to find, www.facebook.com/Rowdy Ricky Robinson. Click the friend request button. We'll talk. We'll hang out. It'll be fun. I have to tell you, I'm on Twitter more than I'm on Facebook. So like I said, if you want to interact with me on social media, that's going to be one of the better ways to do it. Mark Zuckerberg and I are not friends. Haven't been for a long time, ever since he started making you pay to get anybody to be able to see any of your stuff. Speaking of paying to see your stuff, as we wind down the show, as a reminder, this show can be heard every week along with others that are produced and actually ran by the Spark Radio Network, right here in partnership with the Conservative Commando Radio Network on WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. The Spark Radio Network is expanding into new territories and doing so as quickly as possible. In order for us to do that, though, we do need your help. If you own a business and you would like to increase your exposure, and you either are in the Dallas, Oklahoma City, Tulsa areas, or you have a business that is not restricted by geography, and you want to have your commercials or advertisements played in Philadelphia, which is a top 6 market, Dallas, which is a top 5 market, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, which are not too far behind, then make sure to look us up. It's pretty easy to do. Like I said, you can shoot me an email at ricky@thesparkradionetwork.com. What we're trying to do, especially for you non-brick and mortar folks, is get you to the point where you can be heard in everywhere that we run. And right now, with all of the places that we are heard, including the internet affiliates, we're giving you all the internet broadcasting for free. So if you're looking to expand your reach, now is the time to do it. Let us help you. We are a startup that has been doing this for a long time. So we know what we're doing, and we're as hungry as you are. So help us get this going, and we'll help you grow at the same time. All right, so I think I have schlepped enough for one day, and I'm not going to keep pushing for sponsors and everything else. Now, as a reminder, this show can be heard live, usually, every Monday through Friday, at 10 o'clock Eastern on K98 Talk. The website over there is K98talk.org. You can find information about this show and several others on the SparkRadioNetwork.com. And don't forget, on Tuesdays over here, right here on the Conservative Commando Radio Network, we do have Wake Up America Radio with Lou and Dr. Arrington. I believe 5 o'clock drive time, if I remember their slot. I think I'm the only guy that got stuck with an early shift. But that's all right, I don't mind. And then Fridays, we have Game On with JD and Stacy right here, also live 5 o'clock drive time. So make sure you're checking those shows out and the rest of the folks here on the Conservative Commando Radio Network, because we really are trying to bring the best in content to you and the best shows to you every single week, day in, day out. And we do it because we love it, and that's really all there is to it. All right, so on that note, folks, I have got to get out of here. Got to make room for the folks coming up behind me. This is Rick Robinson. You've been listening to us live right here on WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. I'll be back with you before you know it. And if you really, really like me, you can always hang out tonight on K98talk.org. I'll have my new co-host on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Jen Homestead, with me, so make sure you check that out. Back with you before you know it. Have a great day.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
You've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Are you tired of the disregard for our Constitution? Do you still have faith in the American dream? Are you looking for sensible, smart radio? If so, listen to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network every weekday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on WNJC Radio, 1360 on your AM dial, or around the world on the internet at WNJCradio.com. Check out our website, ccrsnetwork.com, for rebroadcasts and network updates. We are the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, where now even more newsmakers go to be heard.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.